I had done the course. I did the Signal 6 course because working in the team setting.
Hmm.
But I do believe that there's, value in the square one, like the sniper and the shotgun. So
Hmm.
I remember
Yeah,
all of it, but for, our listeners out there that are like, all right, what is this?
sure.
Kind of dive in.
Okay, yeah. So the Genesis story, I guess you could say it started about 20 years ago.
Oh,
I was
shoot.
doing, yeah. So it was I was using a system called muscle activation techniques, which I believe is still around. That was out in Denver where I learned that. I was getting good results with that, and I ended up working with the Chicago Cubs. So I was on staff with those guys for about 6, 7 years. So I was the first guy using muscle activation techniques in that setting or in
Uh-huh.
that Major League Baseball. And I had this one client that people were getting good results with square or with MAT. Probably 2 out of 3 people were getting phenomenal results. 1/3, it was kind of a little bit the session. It never ended. It was like kind of, hey, come back in, come back in, come back in. Then that bugged me a little bit because I really want to try to get people fast, getting great results as quick as possible. I had this one client that every time I'd use MAT on him, he would get worse. Like he would have these symptoms, like like his legs would get numb, and like, okay, this sucks. And so after 2 sessions, I'm trying to kick him off my schedule. Like, dude, let me help you find a PT or a chiro or somebody who's not me. And and the more I was like imploring him to find somebody else, he was like, no, I'm sticking with you because you're not a liar. I'm like, yeah, I'm not lying to you. I just don't know what to do with you, man. So I really was totally baffled by his body. And so he kept coming in, and I'm running MAT on him because I was getting these good results on other people, just not on him. And he would present with it's like the typical crappy posture, like shoulders are forward, all hunched over. And he's probably about 45, 50 at the time. Sales guy, so not really an athletic guy or anything, but he did play golf. And literally, this guy would come in like 10 or 12 times a year. So he was coming like monthly for a session of MAT, get nowhere. And, it's the old story that one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And I wasn't the insane one. He was, because he kept thinking I was going to help him. I'm like, dude, I haven't evolved since last month, so it's the same crap. Yeah, so it was crazy. And he would come in and he'd be like, I would joke with him, like, oh, you're here to pay your friendship dues because I'm not going to help you. I'm going to charge you. That's how the whole situation went. And then it was about in 2008, like literally almost 5 years later. I'm like, dude, seriously, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're just not doing any more MAT on you. I'm gonna use that on my other clients, but not on you. And he's like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. Let's just do whatever I think I should do. I'm gonna do the polar opposite because what I think we should do clearly is not a good fit for your body. So one thing he would present with, this guy's name is Alan Kamenecki. Such a cool, awesome name. So I
Right?
love this part of the
That's an
story.
unbelievable name.
It sounds like it's like a comic book story or something. So Alan Kamenicki. So he came in and if you put him on his belly, he was like stuck. Like his head was on the ground. He couldn't with his arms off the ground, so he couldn't extend. And I'm trying to work on posterior chain, trying to get him to extend. But so had every other professional who got their hands on this guy. And so what I did is I put him on his back, and we just worked the anterior chain. So we did a bunch of isometrics in the cervical flexion, capitis flexion, jaw extension, posterior pelvic tilt, just all the torso flexors. And the next day he calls me and he's like, dude, what'd you do to me? I'm like, okay, what's numb now? Because like, what's hurt? Something's gonna chew me out or something. He goes, no, I don't. Whatever you did, all my pain's gone. I feel like I'm standing 2 or 3 inches taller, and I just play golf. He goes, I haven't broken 100 in like 20 some years. I just shot it. It was either an 88 or an 89. So he improved his best round of golf ever by 11 or 12 strokes. And I'm like, bullshit. Like I didn't believe him. I thought he was screwing with me. Seriously, that's the genesis story was this like what happened. And so what I did is like for the next 6 weeks after that session, I'm like I'm gonna keep doing MAT because nobody's head's falling off, and 2 to 3 people are getting these great results. But I kept thinking about that session with Alan. So then I devised some little experiments. So I had this skill set as a neuro response muscle tester, and I'm like, okay, I don't really know that much about human movement, even though I got a 4 year degree from Penn State. And I did this MAT thing, and I'm supposed to know stuff. But like honestly,
Taking a quick break from the show, everybody. Promises will take less than 15 seconds. Friendly reminder, go ahead, hit that subscribe button below. It helps us out and it helps you out by being notified whenever we have new content come out. So hit that subscribe button. And with this, let's get back to the show.
I had to be honest with myself. Like, what did I really know? So I was like humble enough to say I didn't know as much as my clients thought I did. And so I just literally started with the question I want answered was what happens when the foot hits the ground? So I started imposing and mimicking ground reaction forces at every joint in the body. So I'd bend the toe down and I would check the neural response test. And I go to the other side of the body and bend the same toe on that side down. And I literally went in 3 planes of movement up and down the whole kinetic chain. And lo and behold, this map, this neuromechanical map of locomotion appeared. So that's literally, so I kind of discovered the neuromechanics that undergird human locomotion. So from that, there's all kinds of little details there, but that's the 5-minute version of the story. So Alan was kind of messy and frustrated and took a shot in the dark, got lucky, and then I kind of reverse engineered human locomotion unintentionally. Is how it happened, actually.
So
Yeah.
hearing you talk about, taking the toe, both sides, and all 3 planes of motion,
Yeah.
it reminded me of some of the YouTube videos out that you had where it's like, hey, you could kind of exhaust yourself doing all these isolative movements, but
Hmm.
you can get your bang for buck by doing the C spine, laying on your back, the
Yeah.
C's each way. And like, so how did
Yeah.
you then be like, okay,
Yeah.
let's put it all together. Let's package it.
Yeah. So square one, the long story is, not the long story, but the longest version of square one is looking at right step versus left step. We're looking at that moment the foot impacts to the ground, left side versus right. We find this neurological preference, and then we kind of chase it down, find out which specific joint action is load intolerant. And what I noticed is it's like so many other people in the industry. There's a lot of issues in the hips and lumbar spine. So that's where I came up with 6-6 was, all right, I had these coaches who were doing square one, and that didn't work so well in a team setting because they didn't have time to spend one-on-one with their athletes. So I literally kind of put Signal 6 together for a couple of my coaching friends that are like at the D2, D3 level. So they're like scheduling the games, they're driving the bus, they're coaching the team, they're the strength, they're wearing like 20 hats as these lower level university strength coaches, or even they were the head coach in some cases. So I put Signal 6 together for them, and all we did is we targeted the most common areas that I was finding issues with load intolerance with ground reaction forces. So it was like neck, T spine, lumbar spine, and hips. So I just like, hey, let's just do this greatest hits deal, and that's how we package Signal 6. So it's not everything, but it's kind of like the most 85-90% of the issues we find are probably between your neck and hips on most of our athletes. So we find.
So at this point, you have a lot of strength coaches listening that are like, all right, this sounds awesome. And this is, for anybody listening, you're interested, we're going to put the website in the show notes. Go ahead and check it out. So this is, obviously something that Shawn sells. I've done the course myself. I recommend it. If you want to check it out, check it in the show notes. So without giving away any of the
Yeah.
stuff that you charge people for, but
Yeah.
tease it a little bit more because
Oh yeah.
they're already interested.
Yeah. So if we're talking 6-6, I mean it's $100.
Yeah, we'll go
product.
6-6 first, then we'll dive into
Yeah.
it because I'm curious
Yeah.
about square one myself.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.